Hi, I'm Helen Learn, co-executive director of LA-Más. We are a nonprofit community organization based in Los Angeles. We're cross-disciplinary, design-oriented, and policy-driven. As we all know, LA is notorious for its constant traffic and endless highways. We have over 6,000 miles of streets. That's twice the distance from LA to New York. But since LA has prioritized cars over people, over 40% of these sidewalks are in disrepair, and we have the highest pedestrian fatality rate in the country. But under Mayor Eric Garcetti, LA is poised to shake its reputation that nobody walks in LA. Through his first initiative, the Great Street Initiative was born, and Reseda Boulevard in Northridge became the first of 15 selected great streets. This is what Reseda Boulevard looked like before. No one was walking because most people walked through the back door. Sidewalk was filled with patches, reflection of years of hodgepodge repairs. There are large, dark awnings that made for great shade but made for uninviting spaces, and the lack of street furniture further discouraged people from walking. This is where we came in. We were selected by the mayor's office to design and implement the first great street, and we aspired to create a project that was well-designed, community-inspired, and meaningful. From start to finish, our process was built on partnerships. We knocked on doors and talked to every single business on the corridor. Our interactive workshops invited community members to pick their favorite design. Work parties invited locals to pick up a paintbrush and contribute. And in all, we coordinated a vision with Mayor Garcetti, Councilmember Englander, 6 city agencies, half a dozen community organizations, and over 30 businesses. Today, this is what Reseda Boulevard looks like. There's over 60 custom-built, mid-century modern-inspired furniture. The ground is no longer patchy, painted with a paver design. Awnings resemble the clear sky. The best diner in town has a presence on the sidewalk for the first time. Customers enter through the front door, not just the back. Previously vacant storefronts are home to new businesses. CJ here owns a lifestyle store, and he said the reason he chose to open up here was because of this project. Despite the community's car-centric values, because of our outreach, businesses supported protected bike lanes. And today, Reseda Boulevard is less of a highway and more of a main street. More people than ever on foot and bicycle. This project was not just meaningful for the residents of Northridge, it was the first of its kind for the city. The first painted sidewalk, the first plywood-based furniture, the very first parking protected bike lane. You may ask, why does this matter? This matters because in 5 months, rather than 5 years, we created a prototype for a great street, an inviting place where people can connect with one another and support the local business economy. So what's next? Reseda Boulevard has a life of its own and its own Twitter account. The community has proudly adopted this project, branded it Revisit Reseda, and it has its own event series. And we are proud to be able to hand it over to the community. Our approach is also scalable, and it inspired the mayor's office to create a Great Streets Challenge that connects community partners with city agencies, and our approach to doing just that has expanded across 8 communities in Los Angeles. So, LA may always be filled with cars, but with projects like this, our streets could also be full of people.
Thank you. Chia? Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about, if you've looked into it, the economic impact of the work that you've done?
That's a great question. We're still waiting for the metrics of the project to resolve. This project actually just went on the ground a few months ago, and there's been a holistic, comprehensive metric system that measures how many new businesses have opened, are there more pedestrians, are people walking more? So we're still waiting to see, but we know that about 3 new businesses have opened up. Folks are trying to settle and operate the previously vacant storefronts, and a lot of businesses are just happy to see customers that have never before decided to stop on this historic core to actually stop and visit the businesses. So a lot of the stories are still quantitative, and we're hoping in time that it will be a little bit more legit with numbers.
Great, thank you.
This may fall into the same category, but is there anything you've observed about the way people are approaching the buildings and then moving through space? I mean, you say there's more biking, more walking, but are people still approaching by car, parking in the back, entering the back, and then coming out the front and walking? What's going on?
I think that parking in Los Angeles is its own story itself. So the way that it's planned in this community, all the parking lots are in the back, but what we'll see is people will enter, they will exit the front door and they'll actually walk along the other businesses, where before you park in the back, you go to that one store and you get back in your car and you drive. So as a result, this is near a campus, the Cal State Northridge, and you'll actually see students and professors from that campus walk south before it was a separate community.
Good, thanks.
Andrew?
I really like the idea of highway or arterial to Main Street. I think that's a great concept. And it seems like you guys did a lot with a little. What are some of the kind of biggest impacts for the littlest investment? And maybe what are some of the things that you really wish you could have done, but would have needed more funding to do?
Well, what we did was we locally sourced as much as possible. A lot of local businesses donated, but for 4 blocks, the cost was about $20,000. And in parallel, one metal bench usually costs between $800 to $1,000. So we were able to do it in a short period of time, have community members help build the project and have them see the design. And I would say that what we would do in the future is it would be great to actually have funding kind of identified first, so that if this project is successful, that the plywood furniture will eventually become metal furniture. And that's something that, because this is the first pilot in the city, and it seems so, it's not innovative, because across the city you guys are all doing this, but in Los Angeles it is. So I think that being able to demonstrate that this pilot has a long-term future in terms of permanent furniture, that would be great. But I think even it's well built, it's maintained, it's gonna last for at least 2 to 3 years. But I think in the future it would be great to be able to have some of the funding sources outlined before.
Tom?
What was the biggest stumbling block to your effort, and what policy recommendation might you make to city leaders to overcome that?
Well, what was wonderful was that the city was supportive and behind us through this project, but with 6 city agencies that all have different rules, the rules for putting something on the sidewalk is different from the parkway, different to the street. So through our efforts, we were able to champion some policy outcomes where other communities, other organizations are able to bypass the bureaucracy. So I would say the one thing that I hope that the city continues to do is actually to look at pilots as a way to inform policy. And we're hoping that this sets a model to be able to do that.
One more quick question? Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you.